Steve, welcome. Welcome back.
Thank you very much, Tom. Glad to be back.
Great to see you. So what are you guys up to these days?
Well, we've had a pretty fun time. For the last years, we've spent a lot of time encouraging Bernie Sanders to run for president, and that project seems to have taken off a little bit.
Yeah.
You know something about that. And in particular, in the last couple of weeks, one of our strongest chapters for PDA is in Arizona, which happened to be where Netroots Nation was. So we did a lot of organizing around the Netroots Nation meeting about 10 days ago. Mm-hmm. And as it turned out, Sanders went to that meeting, was involved in a protest that Black Lives Matter put on, which I think Bernie would probably agree didn't handle very well. But the interesting thing is, since that week, he's actually shown that he was paying close attention to what they said and probably capped it off at the Southern Christian Leadership Conference on Saturday night with a speech that pointed out that Dr. King had agreed that we needed both, racial justice and economic justice. And
you can't disentangle them.
That's right, and that they're parallel problems. But he said the word structural racism. He brought up Sandra Bland's name and talked about how horrible it was to watch the video. And he basically showed that he had been paying attention and since Netroots. And we actually followed that night 11,000 people in Phoenix, Arizona. And you go, if anyone 2 months ago had gone on national television and said, the Democratic Socialist is going to go to Phoenix, Arizona in a while and get 11,000 people in the convention center, they would have carted him away and said, don't ever invite that person back on our show.
Well, this weekend he was in Louisiana and he got 4,500
Got 4,500. So these numbers are astounding. I think they show the great thirst for serious, substantive talk about the solutions we need in this country, and that Bernie's one of the ones who's done that. You know that because it's often been on your show. But for his whole career, he's talked about substance and what he would do if he was in that position, and people seem to be responding to it.
Yeah, we were talking off the air before we came on, and you said, it's amazing how on his Facebook page, rather than putting kitten videos, or baby videos, he's got actual substantive issue videos, and there's more people who are watching Bernie's Facebook page than any other member of Congress, to the best of my knowledge.
I think there's a great thirst for solutions, and as the money boys have pulled the Democratic Party farther and farther away from the people, from their working families' roots, more and more people are looking for somebody to restore that balance, and Sanders is the one who's filling that gap quite well. So
we're talking with Steve Cobble. He's the political director of Progressive Democrats of America. PDAmerica.org is the website. Did you guys just have one of your roundtables where you go in and you lobby members of Congress? We
did. There was as you know, one of the biggest things going on in Washington is the fight over the treaty with Iran. There was an excellent presentation by Phyllis Bennis of the Institute for Policy Studies. It's kind of redundant to say excellent presentation by Phyllis Bennis because she always does that. But she laid out the importance of, if we're choosing basically between approving this treaty or probably going to war, because if we can't get this treaty defended, there's 6 countries in on this treaty with. What country is going to trust us to do a treaty in the future if they can't do it? So this is pretty important stuff, and Phyllis laid it out. The decision period is just over the next 2 months, and we need to make sure the Democrats' backbone stays strong and they back the president on this one.
Yeah.
So we did that. There was talk about the upcoming 50th anniversary of Medicare, and of course, we've been longtime advocates for Medicare for everybody. I just turned 64 a couple weeks ago, and so sometime this year I have to file.
Welcome to my age.
Yeah, exactly. I have to file for Medicare, but it's kind of preposterous that I'm not already on Medicare.
Wait a minute, you have to file for Medicare when you're 64?
Well, you have to fill out some forms or something, or else you pay a penalty later on. You at least have to register.
Oh, really?
I think it's 64 in 6 months. Yeah. But I'm actually just learning this stuff. It's always been out there, and suddenly I'm getting told.
Suddenly we're getting older.
Yeah, you dude, you got to do some stuff here. Right?
That's interesting.
So,
is there a resource? Is there somebody you can call who says, "Here's what you do"?
Well, I actually got mine from Kaiser, who I happen to be on through my wife's health insurance, and they want to keep me, so they're telling me how I can do Medicare and stay on their thing. So, but they do have some websites, which I can't tell you what they are, where you can actually go check it out.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Do people get very interested in you as you approach 65? Annuity firms, Social Security, Medicare, healthcare. Everybody,
all of a sudden,
everybody notices that you're, as you said, getting older.
Yeah. So, Progressive Democrats of America, have you been? We're talking with Steve Cobble, the political director. Have you been bringing? In the past, people have brought petitions to D.C. or lobbied particular members of Congress on particular issues.
Right.
You've had roundtables where you have members of Congress,
exactly,
typically from the Progressive Caucus. Did that just happen?
We continue to do our letter drops every month. We hit consistently every month. 300 congressional offices with a set of issues that we care about that often don't get talked about, and that's in the same time range as the roundtables. So we get the Congress people or their staff to come talk to us. We get the advocates like Phyllis Bennis, like Steve Miles of Win Without War. They come and tell us what's going on and where we have to apply pressure, or as we like to say, educate. And Andrea Miller of People Demanding Action, which is our C4 branch, they carry on the roundtable, and they help to get these letters distributed to the district offices. So you apply the pressure in the place where you live.
Great.
And we've been doing that and continue to do that, and it's a valuable service, I think.
And teaching people how to do it, too.
Yeah, and we have a constituency in Progressive Democrats that likes doing things. They're happy to sign online petitions, too, but we have a core group of people who like going to the congressional office and actually taking action every month, and that's a very useful thing.
Right, and if you want to sign up for that and participate in it, go to pdamerica.org. And how's PD America doing now since Tim Carpenter passed away?
Well, we're doing pretty well. I mean, Tim, as you know, played a big role in our decision to try to push Bernie Sanders to run for president as a Democrat. And if I remember right, you were up in Massachusetts right after Tim died, and we had the memorial service to him, and Senator Sanders came and spoke to us, and it was sort of the kickoff, at least in our minds, of Bernie run. He hadn't actually said yes yet, but we chanted at him and gave him 12,000 petitions. And so the organization's kept very busy in the last year making it clear to Senator Sanders that if he decided to do this, we'd be with him, that there would be volunteers in every state, that people would respond to his issues. Now, I don't want to say we did it all. We played a value-added role in making it clear that it was a safe thing to do. And once Senator Warren made it clear that she was not going to do it, I think the opening there was clear, and there was an opening towards real people that was not being filled in by anybody running, and Sanders is filling that. So we've been very busy. The organization's doing well. We're having house parties where we raise money from our own people to help Bernie. I'm thinking and hoping that pretty soon Bernie will put us out of business on that, because as he spreads his organization.
Oh, look at what's going on with these house parties tomorrow night.
Yeah.
You can't find an open spot anymore.
They're going to be massive. Right.
You go to BernieSanders.com and plug in your zip code, and it's like, there was only one place within a few miles of where Louise and I live that still had some spots, and it was some guy's house that was like in the back corner of a building, and he was like, go around the back way, and I'm thinking, probably certainly single women would be reluctant to do that, and maybe a lot of people would.
Right. I think you're right. I'm expecting them tomorrow to begin the process of issuing at least preliminary organizing instructions. Okay, here's thousands of you all over the country. Here's what we need to do so that we can get on the ballot, so that we can organize into at least a coordinated volunteer structure and all be working in the same direction. And as they do that, some of the work that PDA has been doing over the last year in states where Sanders was not yet, outside of Iowa and New Hampshire, that won't be necessary anymore. This campaign will take it over itself, and we'll have to figure out new ways to be useful to the campaign. We are running independently at this point due to the FEC rules, So we don't coordinate with them.
Right.
But if you understand your presidential process, you don't have to be too much of a genius to figure out what can be useful.
So you're like a super PAC without a billionaire.
Yeah, we have no billionaires, and you said that pretty well.
Super PAC run on $10 donations.
Yeah, PDA's been a federal PAC all its career, and it's never, in any single year, it's never approached seven figures. So we never had a Sheldon Adelson, Charles Koch type.
Never had $1 million.
No.
Never.
We could say it's because of our purity. It's probably just our bad fundraising, but what the heck?
Well, no, I think it's because of your purity. Progressive Democrats of America has never compromised. You guys have always taken genuinely progressive positions. You've always been willing to speak truth to power, and you're continuing in that tradition. Steve Cobble, the political director of Progressive Democrats of America. The website is pdamerica.org, so get over and check it out. Steve, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you for having me, Tom. It's always great to be here.
Yeah, it's great talking.